We live in a world engineered to eliminate friction, from one-click deliveries to algorithms that anticipate exactly what we want to see. Our environments are designed to be completely effortless. But removing all resistance comes with a hidden cost. When everything is easy, we lose the daily opportunities to build our mental endurance. I'm going to act as your professor today. We're going back to the original mental conditioning experts, ancient philosophers whose ideas have survived for millennia, to translate their theories into practical tools you can use right now. Over the next few minutes, we're going to build a 3-step resistance routine. We will draw directly from the journals and texts of Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus to help you build actual mental muscle. Here is the roadmap. First, we will run a negative visualization exercise. Second, we will learn how to inject daily friction into your schedule. And finally, we will outline the response protocol for when things go wrong. When society optimizes everything for your comfort, your default state becomes fragile. Deliberate, chosen resistance is how you take back control over your own mind. Step 1 is the premortem. Take a second to think about the biggest stressor looming on your calendar right now. Maybe it's a presentation, a difficult conversation, or a financial hurdle. Picture that specific stressor as a storm hitting a ship. This text outlines a core idea from Epictetus. His central thesis is that events themselves do not cause distress. Our internal judgments do. And as you read further, this logic isn't reserved for massive catastrophes. It applies to everything, right down to family squabbles. Here is where most people fall into a trap. If you only dwell on the feeling of the ship going down, you generate pure anxiety. Staring at the disaster without a plan paralyzes you.
To make this a proper premortem, we have to flip the script. You look at that worst-case scenario and immediately ask, what is my specific remedy? If the presentation fails, what exact steps will I take the very next morning? You take a vague, looming dread and convert it into a hard checklist. By writing down a concrete set of instructions for the worst possible outcome, the fear loses its leverage over your decision-making. Now for step 2. Think of mental resilience the same way you think of cardiovascular health. You don't wait for a marathon to start running. You train the muscle long before you need it. We build this capacity through micro-friction. This means intentionally picking small, highly manageable irritations to experience on a daily basis. We aren't talking about selling all your possessions or attempting an ultramarathon. Massive, extreme challenges usually lead to burnout. Small, consistent acts of discipline are much more effective at rewiring your habits. Pick one assignment right now. Stand under cold water for 90 seconds. Commit to taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or practice leaving your phone in another room for an entire evening. When you do this repeatedly, you teach your nervous system a specific lesson. Physical or mental discomfort is just a temporary state. It is not an emergency requiring a panic response. By electing to be a little uncomfortable on a random Tuesday, you're buying insurance. When an uninvited hardship inevitably shows up, your brain will recognize the feeling as familiar training rather than a total disaster. Step 3. The response protocol. Despite your preparation, eventually a real crisis will hit. A sudden loss, a massive failure, or a speeding chariot completely out of control. This is where we apply the concept of amor fati, the love of fate. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius relied on this mindset to govern the known world through wars, political betrayals, and plagues. This document lays out the core protocol. You split the crisis into 2 columns, things you control and things you do not. Notice the instruction. Remove your aversion to things you can't control. Accept the facts exactly as they are, freeing up your mental bandwidth. Once you've accepted the reality of the crisis, you ask yourself one final question. What is the single most rational next step right now? Loving your fate doesn't mean you enjoy the disaster. It means you refuse to waste energy arguing with reality, allowing you to focus 100% of your capacity on solving the problem. Let's review the checklist. Run a premortem on your fears, find your daily dose of friction, and when chaos hits, run the protocol. Now I have a micro challenge for you. Think of one minor task you have been putting off because it feels slightly uncomfortable. I want you to execute that task before you go to sleep tonight. Reading about philosophy will not make you resilient. The Stoic resistance routine only exists if it makes the jump from this screen into your actual behavior.
Ancient history is filled with these everyday victories over fear and hesitation. Taken together, they add up. The moment you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort on purpose, you stop being a victim of your environment. You start becoming the master of your own reality.